All right, so we are on the next episode of the podcast, and those of you watching, you can see who my guest is. So he's a black belt under Marcelo Garcia, which is cool enough. But on top of that, he was also the 2019 ADCC champ. He's won the no-gi pans. He's overall a bad dude. So I want to thank Matheus Diniz for coming on the show. How did I do my pronunciation?
That was perfect. That was perfect, Eric. Great.
That's good. We so we have a WhatsApp group with all the guys I roll with, and I sent him. I was like, all right, to my Brazilian friends, all right, how do I say his name correctly? And so they recorded the message, and I listened to it like 7 times, trying to make sure I got it.
I have a story it's like every time we go to Starbucks or anywhere, it's like they ask your name, you put on your coffee, write down your coffee. So one time I was with Marcelo, and Marcelo, like, he's like by the book guy, everything got to be right. So they asked my name, but I don't want to keep like spelling my name all the time. So I was like, oh, Matthew. He looked at me, he's like, Matthew? Your name is not Matthew, it's Matheus. The girl was looking at me, I was like, I was like, okay, Matheus. And then she was like, oh, how do I spell that? I was like, you see, Marcelo, why I don't want to.
Yeah, just avoid it, yeah.
I think in America is Matthew,
Yeah, there's a guy that I roll with, and I always pronounce it wrong. It's Jiao, right? But yes. So we just say John, and he's okay with that because none of us pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, no, it's like, I don't mind saying Matthew, So a lot of times they get my last name, they say Dennis, like I was like, oh, whatever, I don't mind.
Cool. All right. So obviously Matheus is amazing at jiu-jitsu, like I said, right? He already won the ADCC. But I do want to thank you because you actually taught me one of my favorite moves. So I still mess it. I don't do it your way, but you at least taught me the basics of how to get there. So when you're in half guard, you kind of you get into deep half, you slide your top knee underneath their leg, and then you kind of grab around, get their waist or their thigh, and then you pop out the back. Right.
Yeah.
So from there, I just take the back because it's easier, but I know you then have like additional steps. So I definitely want to say thank you for teaching me that, even though you didn't know that you taught it to me.
Oh, come on. My pleasure. I'm glad I can help. I'm glad it's like something that can work. I agree. I appreciate it.
So you're kind of known for your half guard game. Was that something where like a professor in the past kind of guided you that direction, or is it just you kind of naturally found it because it felt comfortable, your body type, something like that?
So it's fun that you say that, Eric. It's like when I started jiu-jitsu, I started end of 2008, literally like December of 2008, beginning of 2009. So my first coach, his name is Rodrigo Ranieri, Mike, his nickname. He knows for his half guard. But when I started jiu-jitsu, I didn't learn my first move till my second week of jiu-jitsu, So, and then I start, like you say, like it's something that come naturally, and that's what jiu-jitsu is about, Like people like, oh, come to me, they're like, oh, what guard do you think I should have played? I'm like, berimbolo, And it's like they're like, oh. I don't. So it's something that you should find where you're comfortable, and then you start developing and ask people what you can add on that. So first, when I started jiu-jitsu, I started with half guard because it's something that like I don't know nothing. I can grab someone's leg and maybe try use the strength from here, So so that was my first instinct. But when I got my blue belt, I don't do a lot, but people that train me, they see I do. I love spider guard. I play a lot of open guard, spider guard, butterfly guard, of course, because I learned from Marcelo and something that I feel I connect really well with my half guard game. But definitely the half guard came naturally. And then so a lot of people, oh, you learned from your old coach. And my second coach, Mestre Paulo Rezende, he's from Poços de Caldas, where me, Marcelo, a lot of other guys who train with him. He also a half guard player, but it's something that I never like they was that watching them and then I developed. No, it's something that like you say came naturally to me. And then blue and purple belt, I actually in tournaments play very little of half guard. Most was like a spider guard and the stuff like that. But it was something that came naturally, and I was like, oh, I'm comfortable here now, so it came out naturally.
Perfect. Do you have a favorite position, or is it just that you're naturally very good at spider guard? Like, or spider guard or half guard? Do you feel like you like something else, but you do those other things more?
That's something like Eric. Like I advise everybody in jiu-jitsu. You know, jiu-jitsu is such a amazing thing. You know, like doesn't matter your type of body, you can always try something new, always. So in training, I try to do everything. I mess around a lot. You know, like I like to imitate people's game. You know, like example, if one of my teammates gonna fight a certain of guy, you know, I try to kind of imitate a little bit. I'm pretty good at doing that. But my favorite would be like a playing guard would be for sure half guard. Not just my I guess I gotta say it's my favorite because I'm really comfortable and I have a lot of confidence on that. Actually, I just said that a few days ago. I had a camp this weekend, so I was telling people like I play a lot of butterfly guard in no-gi, and when I train, I feel my game flows a little better. I get less tired, but when I compete, I don't have that confidence yet. It's something that I build. I'm gonna build for sure. But definitely, I like a half guard, spider guard, butterfly. I mess around with all that, but definitely, if I'm in a lot of trouble, a lot of pressure, I will go for half guard. You know.
Perfect. All right. So I know you have a new instructional out, right? And one of them is it's about action and reaction. So as you give us some tips on how do you create the action to then anticipate the reaction, so then you can do what you're trying to do. Like what are some?
So I learned about the one DVD I did was like action reaction escapes. You know, it was a lot about all those things that we just spoke about. Like I'm putting myself in the gym, in bad positions. So when you get in a tournament, you don't have any surprises. Okay, and then by putting myself in those positions, not putting myself to like getting myself in those bad positions, I start to see like I should anticipate the movement, like what my partner do. I start when the person get on my side, why I don't start fighting right now instead of breathe a little bit, let things get worse, So about the action reaction, that's all jiu-jitsu is about it, That's why we call it the gentle art, because with the actions and reaction, you get the perfect timing, the perfect momentum without using strength, because you have all those things behind, momentum, time, and everything. And the best time to apply those is escape, where you really got to have those things on point, because you're in a really bad position. Like example, mount. You have someone like a 230 pounds on top of you in the mount, your strength is not going to be all. So you got to understand how to use momentum, time, and reaction against your opponent. So it's something that I've been developing over the years, and that really helped me over tournaments. Like I've been tapped once in no-gi, like I never been tapped before too. My last fight no-gi. So it's something I didn't got any point score at ADCC. I didn't got, So it's something that I've been developing, over all those years. And of course, training under Marcelo, it's helped me a lot, because against Marcelo, you're always under pressure, So you gotta survive, if you want to make that guy sweat a little bit, even that, So it's something that I've been developing. It's not something that I came up a week ago, a month ago. I've been training jiu-jitsu for like 12 years or 11 years. I'm not sure. So it's something that I've been and always been on surviving mode my whole jiu-jitsu time, because I moved from my hometown. I was a kid. I was training with older guys, so I was always on that defense mode. And then I moved to another city where training was even better. I was just a kid from a small city and moved to a bigger city. So I was like, oh man, now again on that surviving mode again. And then after I moved to Marcelo, I was like, holy shit, now I'm gonna go back on that. That's what jiu-jitsu is about, and it's not like life. Literally, it's like life. You have good days and bad days, and you have bad days again, bad days again. Maybe you have some good days. So, you know, that's what makes us stronger, you know, especially these hard times right now. It's literally, it's like life. We not always have good days. Nobody. That's the mean of life. We always do some bad things, you know, always something bad happen. Everybody. So so I've developed those skills by those years in jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah, and you know, you talked about it, right? Like you were from a small town, but you were getting beat up by the big guys, and then you went to a bigger city and getting beat up by the bigger guys, and then you went to Marcelo's and you're getting beat up by the best in the world. But obviously, as you were progressing, your level went up and up and up as well. And so that's something to keep in mind. Is every now and then you can take a rest round, but it's actually better to get your ass kicked because then you're learning how to fend off those terrible positions. And what do you do when you have a 230-pound monster on your chest? That kind of thing.
That's what I like to tell people, like especially in training. You know, if you want to get better, I never took supplement till I got the pre-roll. You know, you know, everybody who knows me knows that. You know, I don't work out, Eric. You know, like I was like, man, when we got in contact, I was like, man, I need something, you know, because you know, like you're getting tired. I'm getting a little older now. I'm 27. You know, you feel like your body's like. So I was like, you know, and man, I read all this stuff. So I was like, let's give it a try. And I'm not just trying to promote it right now, but actually, like, who knows me? And you can check out. I ask everybody. I never take anything. You know, I don't work out. You can follow. So when I was like, oh, it's something that was really felt good. But so that's the thing. If you want to get better, if you want to be a better runner, what do? You run.
Run more, yeah.
If you wanna be a better swimmer, you swim. And that's what I tell people. If you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, you gotta train. And take rounds off only if you're really tired or you hurt, but it's because you're lazy. You should not let that day make you take rounds off. You really don't. I was talking to Matheus Diniz, one of my friends. I love training so much, you know, like when I get in the gym, I really love training hard. But that's the difference too. If you want to get better, you don't want to just train hard. You want to also train hard and smart. And that's another thing I saw about PreRoll. That's something that I take out from people. I'm not going to be hypocrite right now. Maybe once or twice I took some pre-workout. The guys have at the gym. I'm like, oh, but it was nothing consistent. Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to say. It was nothing like, oh, my whole life I take vitamins, I take pre-workout. You know, like it's one like sometimes my wife make a smoothie. I was like, that tastes good. You know, it's like, oh, I put a protein, but you know, like something that helped me focus you, and that's what people gotta try to find. You know, not something that make you super hype and like and then you break down and then you waste 3 or 4 rounds. You're not learning. You're not training. Even when you're tired, you gotta put yourself there, and that's what come, Eric, to help those skills that we mentioned before. You're tired. You got to move. You got to get out. So you got to find those action reactions so don't spend a lot of energy, you know?
For sure.
So I'm definitely big on this. Like if you want to get better in jiu-jitsu, you got to train jiu-jitsu. And then that's me again. Everybody's different. If you have some extra energy, all right, go work out, you know, whatever. But if you have some extra energy, that's mean you didn't train that hard. You know, that's how I see, you know? Again, that's me, you know? Like everybody got to follow what their body feels better, you know?
For sure. So if you had to pick a part of your game, you're like, I wish I was better at this piece, what would that piece be?
Oh man, so many, you know. I try to find one piece, you know, because it's jiu-jitsu. I started working with a sports psychiatrist like 2019, the beginning of 2019, and it's something that one thing that he got me was too. It was like, you always got to have that white belt mentality, you know, like you always be able to learn, always open to learn. Maybe, you know, maybe something that, maybe my stand-up game, you know, I believe I could have gotten a lot more better, you know. So, yeah, for sure. My guard probably too, you know, not just get better, but like maybe have more confidence too, you know, like do more, you know, like, but one thing, probably like maybe my open guard, you know, my spider guard, I should have tried more.
All right, cool. So let's step back a little bit. You talked about, coming from kind of a small town and how you kind of worked your way up to New York City, but,
Mhm.
way back in the day, how did you originally get into jiu-jitsu?
So I originally got into jiu-jitsu. Like I'm from a small town, but Brazil, you pro guys probably heard it. Like everybody fighting, it's like my childhood was amazing. I was playing outside. I feel sad for those kids these days. I was playing outside, playing soccer, hiding and seek in the street, jumping on people's house to hide. It was amazing, it was amazing. For those Brazilians that are going to listen to this, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. It was amazing. And then I moved. I was a troublemaker. I wasn't a bad kid. I was just a troublemaker. I grew up with my grandparents with like 4 cousins inside the house. We always fight each other, So cousins that like my brother, like we literally call each other brothers, we grew up together, So I was always getting kicked out of schools, like public schools. So eventually my grandparents had to put me in a school really far from my house, So I went to another neighborhood, I was a troublemaker kid, I liked to, I was like to play, like I don't take somebody tell me I don't take that home, like I take care of right there. So I used to be a kind of playboy, talk with the girls and stuff. So I guess this guy across the street, he got a little jealous, a little across the street from the school. He used to go to the school too, but he used to go to school in the morning time. I used to go in the afternoon time because I was the younger kids. So the guy's like, oh man, this guy across the street, he wants to fight you. He's going to wait for you outside, blah, blah, blah. I was like, who's this guy? What he does during the day? They're like, oh, he do jiu-jitsu. I was like, all right, what the hell is that, They're like, oh, it's this fighting thing downtown, I was like, so I'm just going to skip school and go there, whatever. What this guy talking about? You want to fight me? So when I got there, look how crazy is it? You kid, I used to have a little bike, we used to bike everywhere. So I got there, it was a kids project, jiu-jitsu kids project. So my first coach, Rodrigo Ranieri, he know the other guy was a troublemaker too. When I got there, I was like, yo, he's like, oh, well, what are you doing here? You want to start doing jiu-jitsu? I was like, no, I'm looking for, his name is Glaube, the guy. Now he's like one of my friends, really good guy. So he's like, what are you doing here? I was like, I want to talk to you. He's like, no, you guys are going to fight. I was like, what do you mean we're going to fight? How do you know? It's like, I know you guys, blah, blah, blah. So, and then Glaube already walking. He was a blue belt back there. I never done jiu-jitsu. I was like, this guy was talking, say he's going to fight me. But so the old coach, like, no, nobody's going to fight. Actually, you're going to come to jiu-jitsu at night. I was like, all right, whatever. I come at night. And then we square whatever we had there. And then I went home. I remember I got a sweatpants. I got a whole T-shirt. And then I came at night. I remember he just pulled me to train. I think he did that on purpose. He's like, okay, you want to fight? So what? Go get beat up. I fall in love right away. My first week, I was already competing. Well, it was amazing. I loved it. I thought it was literally first love, So
That's awesome. And then, when you moved from Brazil to the US, did you move straight to New York City to train with Marcelo?
Yes, actually. So a lot of people don't know, but me and Marcelo are from the same hometown. So, so he always used to go train with my old coach. When he used to go back to Brazil, visit his family, he used to train a little bit. I remember I was a yellow belt. I used to work during the day, and I always skip work. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this guy train. Everybody. I didn't even know what it was, ADCC Worlds. I was like, I thought it was only local tournaments. They're like, oh, this guy's a world champ. I was like, what the fuck are you guys saying? Is a worlds on this? Like only things I used to know is work, play around, and like that's all. Like a small city, man. I never went to the beach. I never went to the beach back then. So I was like, all right. So I go watch this guy. Everybody's talk about him, and he was already like an ADCC champion, world champion. He was about to transition to MMA, I think. So I went to watch him compete. I was a yellow belt. And I guess people were talking about me like, oh, these kids train a lot. I really used to train a lot, like since the beginning, I used to try always. Since when I started jiu-jitsu, I try to train as much as I could. So, and then I guess he's like, oh, I want to start help you a little bit. and then he gave me a little bit of money to go to the tournaments. And when I got my blue belt, he invited me to come here for the first time, but I was a minor. And then I went to the embassy in Brazil. They declined my visa. Also, I didn't have no money, you know. So like, what are you gonna do in the U.S.? You had no money, nothing. You a kid, denied, boom. So I remember I was crying and stuff. So, and then in 2011, when I came my first time, I was a purple belt already. So I was able to come visit for 6 months. Marcelo and his wife helped me through everything. They used to have an apartment for fighters, you know, like I stayed there. I used to, man, Marcelo and Tati, his wife, they mean word to me. So since then, I keep coming back and forth. And then in 2014, I came to stay for good, you know. So,
was it a big adjustment? Was it a big adjustment going from Brazil to living in Manhattan and everything that goes on in there?
So that's the thing. I'm very simple, you know. Like I don't need much, you know. I came from a simple family, you know. We grew up in a farm and stuff like that. Getting, you know, I'm reaching my dreams. So when I moved here, of course, it was like, oh man, this is crazy. This is awesome. But especially I came from a really small city. I was like, first time in a plane. First time I went to a beach was in America, you know, like I never went to the beach in Brazil. That's what Marcelo makes fun of me. He's like, you know, you're the first Brazilian black belt that won ADCC that never went to the beach, you know, in Brazil. So I was like, oh yeah. So yeah, it was amazing. It was I had no people like, oh, how'd you eat? You know, like I was like, man, I had no problem with food. You know, like I mean, I eat anything, you know, I had no trouble. So it was also, again, I'm going to mention that was much easier because I had Marcelo and his wife like supporting me. So I can't complain. You know, my mom always say that, Matheus, you God bless you, you know, like they put always great people on my path, you know, so I can't complain. I really can't. My life, you know, it was great. It's great. You know, it was amazing. Easy transition. I had no problem. Of course I struggle, you know, but I can't complain, you know, I can't complain. So
Sure.
wasn't easy at all, you know, but I can't complain, you know, it was great. It was great, you know.
So we obviously, we've talked about Marcelo and you still train, you know, out of his gym. What's it like rolling with him?
Oh man, I'm a bias to say, I know a lot of people like I train with him and like I love that guy, you know, so it's when I say people might don't believe, but it's literally like I never seen something like, you know, and I don't think if we ever gonna have someone like Marcelo, you know, literally Marcelo is the greatest of all the time, you know, like people like, oh, look what this guy did, look at the guy's better than him, but just put like on plate, you know, like Marcelo was 80, not even 80, 77 kilograms. He used to fight absolute, you know, like he beat everybody, you know, like literally. You can mention names. He beat everybody. So, you know, very few names you can say Marcelo didn't beat. And the way he did too, you know, he had the most submissions at ADCC. You know, he's a 77 kilograms. People don't see that. You know, look at the way he fight it. People like, oh, by the gold with the no gi. I was like, man, look at the gi too. You know, look at who he beat the gi. Look at the way he done it too. You know, look at the way he fights. Marcelo never take a step back. You can watch every off his match, you know, like it's the way he did. It's incredible. Marcelo changed the no-gi scenario. You can talk about all these back attacks that people be teaching. You can go to Imagine Action, go to his old DVDs. He already taught that. You know, people don't see that. It's crazy. People are like, oh, this is the new thing. No, it's not. Look at Marcelo already showed all that. All those leg log entries in the beginning, they all came from single leg X. Who the single leg X? Who's the person that created single leg X? Marcelo, you know. So, like I say, it's hard for me to say. People like, oh, it's because it's just look. It's you can't argue with facts. You know, it's all proven. You know, just look at, just search, just study a little bit more instead of just talk. But Marcelo, it's incredible. You know, the way he thinks, Eric, is 1 in a million. 1 in a million. The man is different. He's different.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned it, his size. I'm around his size. So I'm 5'9", I'm 160, so you know, close to Marcelo's size.
Uh-huh.
And I know what it's like to roll with a guy that's 225. It sucks. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what he used to do with the best 225ers in the whole world and still beat him. So that, you know, adds a little bit more to, you know, how good he really was.
And Marcelo, the way he thinks, he really translate the what jiu-jitsu is about. He's like, Matheus, just think with me. If I'm gonna fight, the way he talks is so funny. Just think with me. If the guy is 260, I'm 170. If I kimura that guy, what is the chance for me to tap him? You know, almost zero. What the chance of me darce that guy? My arms are so short.
Yeah, it doesn't. It
So
literally doesn't fit. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go for his neck, you know. I'm gonna guillotine him where his head's gonna fit in my arm. He's not gonna take the head out, you know. I'm gonna go to his back, you know. Like it's incredible that way. He never spent energy unnecessary, Eric. It's insane. It's insane. When you saw his matches, when he's breathing, he doesn't change his experience. His how can I say
his expression? Yeah.
His expression, yeah, it's incredible. And I asked him, say, Marcelo, you never tired? He's like, yes, I'm tired. I was like, how? You know how? I can't. You know, he's absolute insane.
So you know, who are obviously Marcelo, but who are some of the other guys that you look up to in the jiu-jitsu world?
So my first, of course, it was Marcelo. You know, Marcelo, it's like, you know, like a hero to me. Especially, man, we're from the same hometown, you know, it's crazy. But after Marcelo, I'm a huge fan of Romulo Barral. You know, Romulo Barral, not just his style as a fighter, the way he thinks as well. You see Romulo train, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane. You know, I like his mentality. Awesome dude too, awesome person. And of course a bunch of other people, but those two guys were like that they stick with me, you know, like the first two guys I ever watched, you know, I start watching and like, oh man. And also Romulo, it's like his hometown is like literally 2 hours from my hometown, you know. So we all kind of from the same area. So actually Marcelo and Romulo, it's like my biggest two, the first two guys I look up to. And of course, as I start meet new people, you know, I'm a huge fan of Pé de Pano, man. His mind, it's incredible, man. I was lucky to be on his podcast as well. So man, the way that guy think, you know, I'm blessed to have him as a friend, and the way he talks, you know, he's kind of old school mentality. I love that, you know. Him to Bernardo Faria. Bernard is a huge influence on my jiu-jitsu too, you know. When he moved to New York, I learned a lot from Bernardo, you know, not just as an athlete, but as a person. I had a chance to live with him, so I learned a lot from him. Like I told you, like by the years were going, the days were going, I was learning a lot from a lot of people. Damian Maia too, you know. Oh man, he's an amazing dude. I love to sit down with Damian, get a coffee with him and talk with him. Such a clever guy. So many people, you know. Like I told you, like my mom mentioned, I'm so blessed to have a lot of good people on my way, you know, and I'm able to learn from them, you know.
For sure. So on the not necessarily other side of the spectrum, but you know, on the other side. So who's the toughest opponent you've ever faced, or the most frustrating opponent you've ever faced in competition?
Oh, so many, you know, like so many, all of them, you know, all opponents have the different, you know, like they bring they toughness, you know, I believe when they compete. But it's hard, Eric, to find one guy. So many, like oh man, now you put me on the spot. So many, so many.
Okay. You're good.
I believe all my losses, let's say all the guys that I lose, yeah, man. All the guys, you know. Yeah, it's tough. Like it's tough. I let's say one. I got a Leandro stuff, you know. I match up with Leandro, I think like 5 times. I lost all the 5 times, you know. So it's been a long time since we fought, but someone that I feel I grew up a lot, you know, in the jiu-jitsu. So I believe now would be I can give him a way better fight, you know. all the fights were close, but I believe now I'm not saying I'm going to win, but I believe now I learned a lot more. I got a lot more experience, So yeah, Leandro would be a good one, so many, but.
All right.
So don't leave you hanging there.
You're good. Leandro Loa, that totally works. So those of you that are listening, we got to make this happen. So Matheus Diniz, Leandro Loa, we got a super fight. Let's put it together.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So again, you trained with Marcelo. How's your guillotine?
My guillotine sucks, actually. It's not sucks, but should it be better? Should it be better? Should it be better?
So, talking about, some of the other, moves or positions. So obviously heel hooks, reaping, that's like a big thing because now in your division, it's allowed at IBJJF.
Yeah.
So you've competed under, similar rule sets like at ADCC or one, that kind of thing. Do you have any concerns about that? Or are you like, yeah, I'm good. I understand that game, so I should be okay.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I like, it's definitely a really tough position to deal with. But I think that's took a long time to BJJF, legalize that. It's part of the game. We have to do that. I'm glad they did. I have no problem at all with like every other position jiu-jitsu. I believe by the years go, people are going to start understand way more and it's going to have less issues with. So, and also that's a huge step that JJF done that. But I have no problem with, I've been compete against a lot of guys they special in that position. Since I had no trouble with that, I know. Unfortunately, I got caught against Gordon in my last fight, but it's still something I had no issues with, and it's part of the game. It happens. Sometimes you get caught. It's like same thing with an armbar, triangle, sometimes we get caught. So yeah, I have no problem. I'm glad IBJJF done that. It's gonna improve and help jiu-jitsu a lot,
Do you find yourself training them more because now it's even more a part of the game that you have to compete in?
No, not really. I'm not. My whole mentality is not get myself in there, so I don't focus on that specific. So I'm just focused on not getting there. Don't get my lenga tangos for sweeps, maybe. I try to avoid all them before I gotta deal with. But if I gotta deal with, I know what to do. So I still train the same. I focus on me, not on my opponent. So yeah, I still working the same.
Okay. So let's talk about just your training, right? Not today, because right now I know you have about 7 feet of snow outside your window. Yeah. But on a normal week, let's say you don't have any competitions coming up or anything like that. You're just kind of the average week. How many times are you rolling? Like not teaching, just you rolling with other guys in your gym.
So now it's still in New York City with this COVID thing. It's still hard for me to get the train that I like to have, that I used to have. So, but normally my schedule that I like to do, Eric, is 2 trains a day, 2 train sessions a day, Monday to Friday, and then Saturday do 1 session, and then Sunday take the day off, maybe do some walk with my wife, maybe do something activity to keep active, But normally what I like is 2 trains a day, 2 train sessions a day. That's for me, it's perfect. Like I mentioned before, when I train, I go as hard as I can. So I like to get out of there like, oh man, I'm dying, because I don't work out again. I don't do strength conditioning or anything else. But now with COVID, it's getting a little hard because I try to be all over the place. Again, like I mentioned, I got to go train in Long Island, Matheus Diniz, Royal Jiu-Jitsu. I'm having a blast to train with Rustam at K Dojo. The greatest wrestler I ever seen it, I trained it, I ever trained it. It's incredible. So my wrestling, I'm learning so much with Rustam at K Dojo in Jersey with Coach Murat and all those guys from K Dojo. So I'm trying getting twice a day, but when I cannot do twice a day right now, I get once a day. And also I've been teaching a lot of privates in New York City. So I got to be all over the place because the gym is closed. So I got to go training someone's house, training someone's place. So I'm all over the place. Again, I can't complain. Life is good. I'm not getting the train that I want to, but hopefully things are going to get better and then, we can go back. get my
So
2 sessions a day.
so when you're doing your 2 sessions, are you doing like one session where you're just drilling a certain position? Like, all right, I'm doing back escapes, and then you're
Mhm.
doing more like competition rounds in the afternoon, or how do you break those two up?
Oh, that's great that you mentioned that, Eric. Like, again, some days I'm more tired, so I'm like, okay, so today I'm working a lot of escapes. So I don't do drill. I don't drill. Again, that's me. My drill is like, okay, I practice the position a little bit, and then my drill is in training now. All right, call blue belt, someone is smaller, purple, brown. All right, let's train normal. But then I start pull myself on the position, try to do the position. That's how I like to drill. Some days you're more tired, so I'm like, okay, so I don't like to take rounds off. I'm not gonna say I don't take it, but I really don't do it. I try don't do it. All right. So and then I try training as hard as I can, and then put myself in bad positions. See the clock, 1 minute left. All right, I'm in the bottle. Nothing happened, but pretend I'm losing, so I gotta sweep this guy in 2 minutes, 1 minute, whatever. So I mess around a lot in my head. I try to do a lot of specific training in my head and in training without the person knowing. So that's how you get better. Because when you don't put yourself in those positions in training, you don't want to get surprised in competition. So that's the way, and also make much more fun training. That's how I think. So that's the way I like to train. Those 2 classes.
And so when you're doing that, are you doing like 10-minute rounds, or how do you sort of break that up?
It depends how Marcelo put it, because all those classes that I train is when Marcelo teach. So, or when I teach, or Marcos or Paul, or what else he was teaching. It depends. Sometimes like a 10, 5 minutes, 6, 7 minutes, 5, 10 minutes. It depends how the day goes, how the instructor guiding the class. And if I need, I do some extra rounds after the training, it really depends. But I really like 5-minute rounds, like a lot of 5-minute rounds, because you don't take breaks. Like sometimes it's 10-minute rounds. You look at the clock like, oh man, it's still 7 minutes. All right, let me breathe a little bit, You kind of get bored a little bit. That's how I think. So I like 5-minute rounds, 7-minute rounds, so I can get a lot more for the guys, and it really depends how the class goes and how I'm feeling too, like sometimes you're more tired. All right, maybe I do 7-minute rounds, but okay, maybe today I'm going to call somebody lighter, somebody not smaller, but like a lower belt, so I can practice my technique, my skates and stuff like that, so I like to do that a lot in training, mess around and try new different things, put myself in different situations.
And you really don't lift weights like at all?
No, I don't like it, Again, I'm not going to say I never done it, but it's nothing that I was consistent. All right. Sometimes I'm going to start workout. And I go 2-3 days. I'm like, oh shit, I'm done. I don't like that. I'm sorry, I'm cursing. I don't like it, I'm like, oh, it's not for me, And then when was the last time I worked out? Probably like a month ago. It was me and my wife here on Sunday. She's like, oh, I'm going to go. She work out every day. My wife should love that. I was like, oh, I go with you. So I did one exercise. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit on the bicycle. I hate workout. I hate so much.
No, it's okay. It's surprising because I've seen you and you're jacked. So like to think that like you don't lift weights at all. So apparently you're just lifting people all the time. That's how you.
I guess.
So now let's talk about your training. Like, let's say you have ADCC coming up, or you have Who's Number One or whatever. What does your training look like going into something like that?
Again, I don't change, Eric. It's the same way I was training. I'll train. Of course, you make a little bit more intense, like at the week as they're approaching, you make more intense. Or if you 1 week before, you make a little less intense. So it depends, but it's the same schedule, and Marcelo used to do half gi, half no gi. So same thing, like I don't change. Like for ADCC example, I was training a lot with the gi. For Worlds, I was training a lot with no gi, so I don't really change it. Again, Jiu Jitsu, of course, the intensity might change. Okay, maybe I do some more extra rounds, maybe. So, but Jiu Jitsu don't have seasons. Like example, now, if I train to the master, oh, you want to fight in 3 weeks? You're gonna make this ton of money? I'm like, oh man, I cannot deny, so you gotta always be ready, be consistent. So So yeah, I try to keep the same. Maybe I increase a little more the training. So, but it's the same schedule.
Do you do anything for like recovery or mobility, like stretching, ice baths, sauna? Nothing?
I've done some ice baths, but not really, don't stretch. It's crazy. I just like training, I get home, I sleep. I eat really bad too, but now since I got married, my wife is helping me a lot of eating, but she'll some bad. She'll again, I'm not a big fan of pizza. I eat it, though. Doesn't mean I don't like it, but I know like something like sandwiches. Not really. I like food. Like I'm Brazilian. I grew up in a farm, and where I'm from, they state where I'm from, it's considered the best food in Brazil. So we eat good. So we eat food, like rice, beans, chicken, vegetables, a lot of good food. So I like food, So it doesn't mean I eat bad. I just eat a lot.
What are those little balls, the ones that are filled with cheese?
Pão de queijo, cheese bread.
Yes, those are
yeah.
amazing.
Oh man, it's amazing. It actually is from my state. That's where they're from. It's amazing. It's amazing.
All right. So do you eat those too?
I eat yeah. So when I go home, oh my God, we buy something here like frozen, but it's not the same. It's good though. It's still, remind home a little bit. I'm lucky in New York. Have a lot of Brazilian restaurants, a lot of Brazilian supermarket. So I'm spoiled. I'm good.
You mentioned you eat rice, beans, chicken. None of those are terrible. You just eat a ton of them.
I know. Yeah, that's the thing. I just eat a lot. Yeah. Like example, people are like, oh, rice is good, but you gotta eat a certain amount. I'm like, I cannot eat just that. That's so little. I eat in a bowl. I have a bowl, the salad bowls. My wife, she's like, and one time me and Matheus, we went to a restaurant, Matheus Luther, and they had this bigger spoon, like for putting the beans on. I asked the girl, like, oh, can you give that spoon? She's like, I'm not supposed to, but okay. So I have like a bigger spoon. So
like a serving spoon eating like that?
Yeah, bigger one.
Do you, when you walk around like around 200, right? Or
200, yeah. Now I'm probably like a 205, yeah, 208, yeah.
So when you compete at 88 kilos, so that's what, 195, right?
88, yeah. But with the geese, 88. So actually, last time I competed was in Brazil. I went down to 178. Yeah, that was brutal.
So how do you cut weight? You just cut down the amount
that you eat? I just stopped eating. It sucked. Again, I don't know diet anything. So I just, I guess if you want to lose weight, don't eat. It's the same thing that we talked about before. If you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, train jiu-jitsu. If you want to cut weight, stop eating. If you want to get weight, eat.
All right. So, let's say you're getting ready to go into a tournament or a match, right? Let's say let's say your first match is at 2:00 and it's 1 p.m. What happens for you between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. when you hit the mats?
I like to lay down, sleep a little bit. Not sleep, just relax. I used to try to get pumped as much as I could, but I used to get tired doing that. So I was like, now I'm going to start relax. So I try to relax and when they call me to compete, 30 minutes before, 20 minutes before, start loosening up a little bit, get a little bit of warm up. I don't like to warm up crazy, just get a good warm up, not a crazy warm up, just move it a little bit, get a little bit of sweat going. And maybe you got to go to the bathroom, all the nervous, just that. And then when they call me, I like to be relaxed. I get pumped, but I try don't get too pumped. So yes, I just try rest, try concentrate it, focus on the thing that I can control, and then that's it, not try to overthink too much.
Do you listen to any music or anything like that to help you calm down, or?
I usually listen to music to not help me calm down, to make me excited. Now I'm like, I put my headphones, but most of the time I'm not listening to anything. I just don't want to all the noises around. Yeah, that too, I don't mind talk, but actually just be on my zone, put the headphones, not listen that much, just most of the time I'm not listening to music.
Do you, because I know you've competed a lot and obviously it's some of the biggest tournaments in the world. Do you still have that kind of nervous feeling? like right as you're like bumping fists where you're a little tense and
when the refs say go, I'm like, oh shit, you know. But then like when you start go, you lost the nerves a little bit, you know. Before the match a little bit, not going to the mat, you know, it's actually like when you're watching the mat going, they're like, oh man, all right, now I guess it's me, you know, and finish, you know. So yeah, but not like a day before, maybe a little bit, not that much anymore, you know. But when, like you say, when you fist bump, but most for me is like when the ref call you in, like, oh, come in, that's when like I get nervous. But when you fist bump and things start go, I'm start come down, you know.
all right. So it's only like 10 seconds where you're just jacked up. And then by the time you walk out and shake the referee's hand, you're pretty much back down to normal.
Yeah, back like you sure a little nervous, but not like something like super, you know, like crazy. Like you like I can't breathe.
Perfect. So, you know, we talked a little bit about your instructional earlier, right? And we talked about action, reaction. What other ones do you have working up with Bernardo? Or what else do you have coming out?
So just came up two instructors. One is about escapes, right before things start getting worse. You know, that's how should it be. And the other one is a half guard from Nogi. You know, Nogi half guard. It's like my main goal as we work, as we spoke before. And I'm trying to get like a 2 with the gi now. Again, I'm planning. I'm writing down. Probably I'm gonna try to do 2 more with the gi. But now just came up two new instructors. I already have 2 instructors with them. One with the gi, position submission, and the other one, it's pressure passing, no gi pressure passing. So now came up 2 more. So I have like 4 instructors there. You know, make sure you guys check it out. Matheus Diniz, BJJ Fanatics, and some good stuff in there, you know.
For sure. So if you were going to give, let's say, one tip for somebody half guard, no gi, what would that one tip be?
Don't be lazy. Half guard is a half pass. Don't set positions too well in there. I like to say that half guard is a half pass. So don't be lazy. Don't stop till you really have a good position, really good control. So that would be my advice right there.
All right. So don't just lay there. Fight for the underhook or slide into deep half.
Deeper on the hook as well.
Yeah.
Hide your head. You know, half guard is a half pass. Remember that.
There we go. Perfect. So, you know, other than, you know, you talk about more instructionals coming up, what else are what's in the future plans for you other than, you know, winning ADCC again? You know, what else is coming up for Matheus?
So I maybe have a super fight in March. I'm still waiting for the response on this week. And if not in March, probably as soon as possible, I want to get back there. So I'm still waiting for this promotion to reconfirm. And yes, I'm my biggest, not my biggest, probably my biggest dream is win the world with the gi. I got 3rd place, you know, a couple of times, but that's my biggest goal right now. Of course, I want to win the ADCC again. I want to do better than I've done before. I want to win the absolute too. So yes, I'm looking forward to come back, compete again. So just waiting for this promotion, and then we settle things if I'm going to fight or not. If not, I'm, you know, see what other options. There's a lot of options right there. I'm glad, you know, I'm blessed to have that. So I'm waiting on this, and then see what are the tournaments out there, you know, and other options I have.
Have the ADCC guys told you what the plan is for ADCC this year?
I guess they're already canceled for next year. Yeah, that's what
I know. They canceled it, but then I heard that the trials are going to happen in a couple of months. And then
I think they're gonna. That's what I saw. I'm always a good guy, you know. I'm always a nice guy, but I never ask him too much, you know. But I just saw something. Actually, they're gonna do some trials. Yeah, I don't know if it's here in America or I think it's Asian. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I didn't see. I saw, but I didn't gave a lot of attention. But I'm glad things are coming back. You know, hopefully we're able to do ADCC maybe this year or next year.
Yeah.
But we're gonna come back. ADCC for sure gonna come back. We just everybody in the same situation. We're just waiting. this virus, this thing go away, you know?
Yeah. And you get an automatic invite, right? Because you won last time? Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, perfect. So, we talked about, BJJ Fanatics, look you up. You have 4 instructionals on there with more to come. If people want to connect with you, learn more about you, where else should they go?
Again, I'm terrible at social media, Eric. Terrible, I'm not a fan of it. But we got to do it. If someone want to contact me, I have my email is there. My website is there. You can text me on Instagram, but maybe take a long for me to reply. I'm sorry. I'm awful. I'm sorry, everybody. But we got to do it. Just send me a message over there, and we take things from there.
Yeah. So if you're not already, go follow him. So it's at Matheus Diniz JJ on Instagram, or his website is MatheusDinizBJJ.com. So that's the place to go check him out. So, hey man, it was a pleasure to finally get to talk to you, in a little bit longer form. And it was my pleasure. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the amazing product, man. I'm happy to work with you guys. I really am. And I don't want to just say, because people like, oh, it's just promoted. Actually, I felt really good, in training. Didn't give me this anxious thing, after you take a pre-workout and you have a lot of caffeine, you're like, oh, you can't sleep or something. I felt great. It's actually the perfect amount. Thank you very much for trusting me on my work and everything. And I really appreciate it.